welcome back to our podcast. I'm the Disturbed Southern Belle.
And I'm the gentleman.
We're continuing on with our series of some of the more fraudulent paranormal investigators, psychics that have kind of cropped up in the news over the years. And on this episode, we're definitely going to be talking about one that I'm sure a lot of people have probably heard of, especially if you grew up in around the 90s. Because if you ever watched the show Montel Williams, you definitely saw this woman on there because she was a regular, and that is Miss Sylvia Browne. So she was a self-proclaimed psychic and medium, as most are.
Fair enough.
Who was widely exposed as being a fraud due to her long history of devastatingly incorrect predictions, legal issues, and exploitation of grieving families. Now, one thing I'm going to say about this woman is I did grow up around this time, so I saw her on this show, and she's very unlike a lot of the psychics that you see, in that she had this confidence about her. Like, she would literally just spit out whatever, just like somebody get up and say, my child is missing, and she'd be like, oh, they're dead. Just like it was nothing. I mean, she had this confidence. So I can kind of see why people would believe her, because she would say things just so, and if they pushed her on it, she'd just pop it right back. She's very convincing. I mean, in other words, I mean, if you really, wanted to believe what she was saying, I mean, I can understand why some people would have, got sucked in, because she said it with such confidence and with such just like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm talking about, that, you might believe her. So she rose to the fame, like I said, in the 90s and 2000s, and she became a staple on daytime television programs like the Montel Williams Show. Now, she was on there several times a year. She would usually come on like at the beginning of the year and give her predictions for the year and stuff, and blah, 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 whatever. And whether or not any of them came true, nobody ever said anything. That just was whatever, right? She was also on the Larry King Live several times. However, independent investigations and high-profile real-world events thoroughly debunked her claims of supernatural abilities. Well, and we'll get into some of those, and some of them are very sad, because she tell people like their children were dead and then they weren't, and, just different things. She would just say whatever. I mean, now it's sad, basically. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you were in that situation, imagine had you lost a child and you went to someone trying to find some answers, maybe trying to find out who done it, and she gives you this just blah 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 blah. You believe it, and it's just the crazy. It comes out to be none of true, kind of thing.
You would think after a while you would kind of just give up.
Yeah, but anyway. So she was born on October 19th, 1936 in Kansas City, Missouri, and she was raised mostly Catholic, although she did have relatives of several different faiths. Like her mother, I think, was Episcopalian. She had like an uncle, I believe, that was like Jewish, just different things. So she claimed that she began to see visions when she was around 3 years old. So she then stated that her grandmother, who was also a psychic medium, was pivotal in helping her to understand what her visions meant. So her grandmother was supposed to be this mentor to her, taught her, how to read her visions, yada yada. Now this is all supposed to be taking place when she was 3, so sure, right?
Right.
So she began working as a psychic in 1973, so several years later. And then she later founded a Gnostic church in 1986. And for those who are not kind of aware what this type of church is, it's basically a faith that believes that salvation comes through this secret divine knowledge, and that the physical world is evil or flawed. And they also believe that the humans possess a trapped inner divine spark. So basically, the core beliefs of this church, or belief, faith, whatever you want to call it, is they believe there's this supreme God, which is this distant, totally unknown, and perfect being far above the physical universe, which, I mean, I guess is sort of the Christian belief as well. There's a divine God, that's, perfect, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of, the norm. They also believe in something like a demiurge, which is this inferior, lesser, or sometimes evil creator God, often identified with the Old Testament God, who made the flawed material world. So they think there's two different gods. There's the Old Testament type God, and then there's like this perfect God. Okay. So the divine spark is supposed to be this piece of the true spiritual light trapped inside human bodies by material creation, which I guess would be sort of your soul-ish, I guess. The role of Jesus, they believed he was this divine messenger who came to earth not to die for sins, but to wake people up with secret knowledge. And then the salvation, or gnosis, there was freedom from the material body and the return to the high spiritual realm achieved by awakening this inner knowledge inside everybody that they have. So she had this church, and whatever. Now, she also became the head of the Sylvia Browne Corporation and Sylvia Browne Enterprises. So that tells you something right there, that they've got
Yeah.
enterprises and corporations. In
Yeah.
2010, her business manager estimated that her businesses earned approximately $3 million a year, which is not something, honk your nose at, so to speak. Thumb your nose at, rather. I mean, that's a pretty good bit of money. In 2010, especially, I mean, that was some years back. So, $3 million a year she's making off books, tours, doing reading, whatever. So, her abilities. So now when I say abilities, I'm going to say these are her claimed abilities, so to
Yeah.
speak. She believed that she was able to see and observe heaven and the angels. She claims she spoke with this spirit guide whose name was Francine, and she was able to perceive a wide range of vibrational frequencies, whatever the hell that means. But yeah, anyway. So now we're going to talk about some of her great accomplishments, and by that I mean some of her false predictions. So she made many public pronouncements, which were subsequently proven to be false, and we're going to talk about some of the more notable ones. And one is in 2002, she informed the parents of an 11-year-old Sean Hornbeck, who had disappeared earlier that year, that he had been kidnapped by a dark skinned Hispanic man with dreadlocks and that the boy was now dead. So Hornbeck was found alive in 2007. His kidnapper was Caucasian and short haired. And in June 2008, the UK television network was sanctioned by Ofcom for re airing an episode of the Montel Williams show with her featuring that prediction.
Yeah.
So that was pretty bad. She told him he was dead. Said it was a Hispanic man with dreadlocks, and he was found alive, and it was a Caucasian man with short hair that had
Couldn't
taken
have
him.
been more wrong if
And
she
there you go.
tried.
So in November 2004, now this one is sad. She told the mother of kidnapping victim Amanda Berry, who had disappeared 19 months earlier, that she's not alive, honey. That's what she told her. Brown also said that Berry was in the water, the child was in water, and that she had a vision of Berry's jacket in the garbage with DNA on it, whatever that means. So Berry's mother died 2 years later, believing her daughter had been killed, but she was found alive in May 2013. So that's kind of
Yeah.
very sad. And now this one is very ironic in a way. On Larry King Live in 2003, Brown predicted that she herself would die at 88 when she actually died in 2013 at age 77. So, yeah.
Okay,
That's kind
that's
of
just funny.
it's kind of funny in a way, yeah.
I'm not even like normally I'd say like yeah, it's kind of sad because somebody died.
Well,
It's not even sad.
kind of
That's just pure
it's kind of
funny.
funny in a way just because
It's just the
the audacity,
cosmos
the
spiting
yeah.
her
Yeah.
specifically.
So in 2000, now we're going to talk about she was involved in like these police investigations and things. She was like a psychic on several cases. She talked about this all the time. So in 2000, Steve Brill, who was this lawyer, he later went on to found Court TV, which I'm sure a lot of people probably at least heard of it.
Yeah.
Examined 10 of the most recent Montel Williams episodes that highlighted her work as a psychic detective, which spanned 35 cases, and in 21 cases, the information was predicted by Brown was too vague to be verified. And of the remaining 14, law enforcement officials or family members stated she played no useful role. So we're going to talk about a few of the cases. So in 2010, the Skeptical Inquirer published a detailed 3-year study by Ryan Schaefer and Agatha Jadwiskock that examined Brown's predictions about missing persons and murder cases. So, despite her repeated claims that she was more than 85% correct in all of these cases, the study reported that she had not even been mostly correct in even one case. The study compared her televised statements about 115 cases with newspaper reports and found that in the 25 cases where the actual outcome was known, she was completely wrong in every single one. In the rest, where the outcome was unknown, her predictions couldn't be, of course, substantiated because no one, knew the outcome of the case. They never found the person, whatever ended up happening. So the study concluded that the media outlets that repeatedly promoted her work had no visible concern about whether she was untrustworthy or she harmed people. So we're going to talk about some of the predictions she made about some of these cases. So among the predictions examined in the study were these. So in 1999, she said that 6-year-old Opal Jo Jennings, who had disappeared a month earlier, had been forced into slavery in Japan. Later that year, a local man was convicted of kidnapping and murdering the child. And in 2003, an autopsy found that she had died within hours of her abduction. I mean, these are people and these are their children and things, and you're saying this crap.
Yeah.
Just,
Which is exactly why I said that it
it's
wasn't
sick.
sad.
It's kind of sick. So in 2002, she said that Holly Crewson, who had disappeared in 1995, was working as an exotic dancer in Hollywood nightclub. So in 2006, dental records were used to positively identify a body that had been found in 1996 in San Diego as Crewson's. So, like, not even a year later, they had found the body.
Yeah.
And she said that in 2006, she, that like in 2000, whatever. Oh my God, In 2002, she also said that Lydia McClellan, who had disappeared in 2000, had been taken by a man with the initials MJ, and she was alive in Orlando, Florida, and would be found soon. In 2003, McClellan's son-in-law, David Rapaski, who had been present at Brown's reading, was convinced of murdering this man that she named McClellan. Was rather convicted of murdering her, and her remains were found near her home in Pennsylvania. So, yeah, he's there at the reading, and he'd been the one that killed her son-in-law. So in 2004, Brown said that Ryan Catcher, a 19-year-old who had disappeared in 2000, had been murdered, and his body could be found in a metal shaft. In 2006, his body was found in his truck at the bottom of a pond where he'd drowned. In 2013, a follow-up article, Schaefer reviewed more recent predictions by Brown, as well as predictions whose outcomes had been earlier classified as undetermined but were now largely resolved. According to Schaefer, Brown was mostly or completely wrong in 33 cases and mostly accurate in none whatsoever. So there was this mine disaster that she also wanted to throw her 2 cents in, the Sage-O mine disaster. So on December 2nd, 2006, there was an explosion at the Sage-O mine in West Virginia, and it trapped several miners underground. So the following day, she happened to be a guest on this radio program, Coast to Coast AM, with George Noory. And at the start of the broadcast, it was believed they had given a report that 12 of the 13 miners trapped by the disaster had been found alive. And when he asked her if the reported noise from inside the mine might have led to her to think that the men had died, she replied, "No, I knew they were going to be found." But later in the program, it was discovered that the earlier news reports had been error and that basically none of them had been found. So then she backtracks and says, "I don't think there's anybody alive. Well, maybe one. I don't think they're alive," adding subsequently that she didn't believe they were alive, and I did believe they were gone, when she'd already said that all of them were, So, popularity. So, she cultivated a large following in 2007, and she had a 4-year waiting list for readings by telephone. So that's something right there now.
That's just sad.
Yeah, I know, it's sickening. That same year, hundreds of people joined her on a cruise, each paying thousands of dollars for her readings. Many of her books became staples of the New York Times bestseller list, which is, she attracted media attention 7 years after her death, when social media users claimed that a prediction in her book, End of Days and Prophecy, What the Future Holds for You, referred to the COVID-19 pandemic. She claimed that there was going to be a severe pneumonia-like disease that would spread around to 2020. News coverage of the alleged similarity appeared in March 2020 and was picked up by celebrities with large social media platforms like Kim Kardashian, which we know is just, who you go to if you want to know something.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I mean, anything, in the news, you want to go to her.
More reputable source.
Exactly.
Reputable.
So, investigator Benjamin Radford and others dismissed the one-paragraph prediction as too generic and actually more akin to the 2003 SARS epidemic than to the actual COVID-19 epidemic. He said that Brown had produced predictions by the thousands, and the fact that one happened to be maybe partly right is just purely meaningless. And it is. I mean, in other words, if you just sat around and just randomly said crap over, that could happen, you might hit upon something that might actually happen. Whether or not you predicted it, forget all the other stuff you said that was just never transpired, and that's okay. We just, whatever, right? Just one thing might have happened. There's going to be a car wreck today. Don't know where. It's going to happen. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
When statistically, there are so
many.
Just in the U.S. alone.
There's going to be a child born today. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you get vague enough, in Alabama, in any state, I mean, you can literally just say anywhere. And most likely there's going to be a child born. there. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, criticism. So she was frequently condemned by skeptics. Robert S. Lancaster maintained an exhaustive record of her inaccurate predictions in criminal activity. He actually even opened a website called Stop Sylvia Browne, which he devoted to critically examining the claims of her. In November, and he did this in like November 2006, and he described her pronouncements as relating to missing children as incredibly offensive, and it kind of is. I would be ashamed of myself
Oh yes,
to do
absolutely.
that. To give someone hope or tell someone something that I literally had no idea what the hell I was talking
Or
about.
even worse, take away that hope.
Well, there you go. Just, I don't understand it. But anyway, John Ransom, who called Brown America's most controversial psychic, wrote that she was often psychically wrong and made a fortune saying very serious, cruel, show-stopping things to people in distress. And she definitely did. If you've ever watched any actual clips of her, she did. She did not care what she said to anybody. I mean, you could just tell she was so flippant about it. I mean, it was like I said, that's why people probably believed her because she said it with such confidence and just so, just so offhandedly, like, she knew like it was just something she knew, you know what I'm saying? Not like it was like, you know what I'm So Fox News noted that she was often criticized for her predictions, and Brown also garnered disapproval from others who claimed to be psychic. So that tells you something if other
Yeah,
people are, saying,
it kind of
they're probably
does.
scammers herself. Her most vocal critic within the skeptical movement was James Randi. Now, if anyone doesn't know who he is, I bet you do. You just don't know it. A retired stage magician and investigator of paranormal claims, and he was also known to offer a $1 million reward for anyone who could prove that they had psychic abilities. Now, he offered it to a lot of people. And how many people do you think have ever claimed it?
None.
Not a single person.
Not a single
So
person.
Randy claimed that Brown's accuracy rate was no better than educated guessing, and it pretty much is. That's
Worse.
well, yeah, for really,
Worse,
it is
honestly.
really. I mean, she's just kind of throwing stuff. Now, granted, in cases where children are missing more than 48 hours, sure, most of the time they are people general, yeah, in most cases where they don't run off on their own or something, you could educatedly guess that they're probably deceased because that is generally the truth, Now, that does not mean in every case, of course, there's children that are found alive, people found alive that ran away, whatever, you know what I'm saying, though. You could probably say it, and most of the time they'll end up fine. It's true. Now, it's not a good thing to be known, but it is true.
So, in my opinion, the problem with that is that she wasn't like making educational
Right.
guesses because she went into too much detail.
She did.
There wasn't nearly enough
she would
context.
give like flipping details, like this is who took them, and describe the
Yeah.
person and describe where they were and all the. I mean, just like literal direct like stuff that people could take to the cops. Hey, so and so, blah blah blah. They got these initials. They look like this.
At that point, you're just saying random stuff.
Exactly.
And hoping it sticks.
And possibly even getting someone in trouble that didn't
Yeah.
even have anything to do with it.
Exactly.
That could just have randomly been in that area at the time. Just a random human being that you just happen to describe. Oh, it was a white male with blonde hair, and just some random guy just happened to be there. Didn't you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not funny, but it's what I don't know. I don't know why she did this stuff. So on September 3rd, 2001, Brown stated on Larry King Live that she would prove her legitimacy by accepting the James Randi Educational Foundation's $1 million paranormal challenge to demonstrate her supernatural abilities in a controlled scientific test. By April 2003, however, she had not contacted Randi, of course, to make the arrangements. On May 16, 2003, in another appearance on King's show, Brown said that she had not taken the test because Randi refused to place the prize money in escrow. Randi responded by mailing a notarized copy of the prize account status showing a balance in excess of $1 million, but she refused to accept the letter. So in late 2003, despite challenge rules that money could not be placed in escrow, Randi announced that he was willing to do so for Brown and make a special exception. She did not accept or acknowledge this offer. In 2005, Brown posted a message online saying that she had not received confirmation of the prize money's existence, despite Randy's claim that he had a certified mail receipt showing that she refused the package to accept the receipt showing that he had done it. So in 2007, on CNN's Anderson Cooper 360, Brown's business manager, Linda Rossi, stated that Brown would not be taking Randy's challenge because she had nothing to prove to him.
This is so stupid.
It kind of is,
It
yeah.
reminds me so much of like modern day like YouTuber
Mm,
drama.
yeah.
Like someone will say something completely off the wall about
Mm,
somebody else
mm,
with absolutely no evidence at
mm-hmm.
all, and just completely ignore any supporting
Oh,
evidence
yeah.
for the other side.
And then come back and say, I don't have to prove anything. Meh. What you gonna do?
Yeah,
Meh. Yeah, I had to prove myself, even though I came out in public and said I would. What do I got to prove?
yeah. She was the person to bring all this up. She
Exactly.
started
I
this,
know. So
and
she's
then
gonna
all
do
of a
it.
sudden she just,
No,
I don't have to prove anything to you.
I don't have that. He don't have the money. Okay, I've got the money. Here's the proof. I don't have to take that package. Blah
I
blah.
refuse to accept this.
There you go. So, in a 2019 segment of HBO's Last Week Tonight, John Oliver criticized the media for promoting Brown and other psychics, enabling them to prey on grieving families. And I have to wholeheartedly get behind on that. I do not like people who do this kind of thing. Now, I don't know that there's no one in this world who maybe does not have some sort of power. Maybe you do get visions. Maybe you can talk to the dead. I don't know. But I'm saying I've never seen anybody who could. I've never seen any proof of anybody that I've ever seen that can legitimately do anything. And the fact that you prey on people who are in a very vulnerable state is sickening to me. It's just beyond sickening because these are people who probably lost children, lost a loved one, maybe sometimes don't know what's happened to them. Their kid comes up missing, and you're telling them, like, oh, you can find them here or there, or they're alive, they're here, that, and you don't have no damn clue what you're talking about. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should People like that deserve to go straight to hell. I'm sorry, but you
Oh
do.
yes,
That's sickening.
absolutely.
You don't do that to
I
people.
agree
You don't
100%.
do that. Now, whether or not you believe in hell or not, whatever your version of what that might be, whether it be karma on earth, whatever, you deserve whatever comes to you because that is disgusting. You don't do that to people.
And sadly, people like this don't really get their comeuppance
Most of
until
the time,
it's
probably not. No.
too late.
I mean, they kind of just slide right on through, don't they? So Oliver went on to say that when psychic abilities are presented as authentic, it emboldens a vast underworld of unscrupulous vultures more than happy to make money by offering an open line to the afterlife as well as many other bullshit services. And that's 100% true. I mean, how many times can you, at the very least, right now, we could all go online, you can find psychic, you can find people who read your palm, you can find people do all this stuff and charge you God knows what to do it.
Too much,
And
man.
there you go. So, during the late 1980s, the FBI and local authorities began investigating Brown and her business over several bank loans that resulted in sustained losses to the banks, of course. So, in 1992, Brown and her then husband, Kensel Dalzell Brown, were indicted on several counts of investment fraud and grand theft. The Superior Court of Santa Clara County, California, found that the couple had sold securities in a gold mining venture under false pretenses, and in one instance, they told a couple that their $20,000 investment would be used for immediate operating costs. Instead, the funds were transferred to an account for their Nirvana Foundation for Psychic Research because, of course, why would it not? She ultimately pleaded no contest to security fraud and was indicted on grand larceny in Santa Clara County on May 26, 1992. She and her then husband each received 1 year probation, and she was also sentenced to 200 hours of community service. So, yeah, she was really, they really stuck it to her there. She'd married 4 times, and her first marriage from 1959 to 1972 was to Gary DeFrance. The couple had 2 sons, Paul and Christopher. She took the surname Brown upon her 3rd marriage and then later changed it to Brown with an E. First, it was just brown like the color. Her 4th marriage took place on February 14th, 2009 to Michael Ullery, who was the owner of a jewelry store. So, in March 2011, the Society of Novus Spiritus, the Gnostic Christian church founded by her, announced that she had suffered a heart attack on March 21st while in Hawaii and requested donations on her behalf. She died on November 20th of 2013 at age 77 at Good Samaritan Hospital in San Jose, California, and she was later interned at the Oak Hill Memorial Park. So, I guess you can say whatever you want about her. She definitely had a good run, and she definitely dipped her fingers in the pot and made some money. Now, like I said, I've seen her in action. Like I said, and I saw it mainly on the Montel Williams show. I remember just watching different clips of that because back in the day, that's just wasn't a lot to pick from. We had like 4 or 5 channels. This was back when really wasn't a lot of cable TV back in the area I lived in anyway. So I mean, you didn't have a lot to pick from, and yeah, she was very.
Prevalent.
Yeah, she's prevalent, but she's also just the way she, like I said, the way she would say things, like someone would just stand up. I mean, literally, people could stand up and just say, "I don't want to say my request out loud." She'd be like, "Oh, blah blah blah," and just tell them something, and, like, just what
Basically, the living embodiment of
she.
fake it till you make
I
it.
guess. I mean, man, she just didn't care. And like I said, I mean, you can go on the line right now, and I even suggest you do because if anything else, it's funny to know some of the things. But it's also very sad because, like I said, she told people things like, your child's dead, and then they're not. Or she would tell people like, oh, your dad's and blah, blah. Like, I think she told one woman her dad ran away to like another city or something. Now, I don't know whatever came of that, but I'm thinking they said that wasn't what happened. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, the way she would say it like she was just telling you, like she knew. Like, I saw so blah, blah, blah at the grocery store, and, like that level of confidence, you saw this person, you come back home and say, hey, I saw blah blah blah. She would just oh, I saw this guy, he took your child, he had dreadlocks, he was Hispanic, he was whatever. And it's not funny, but it was just like the level of confidence she
The
spouted, just
absurdity
yes,
kinda
the
makes it
audacity
funny.
of it. When you just look at her, I mean, she was so flippant, and she always acted like they were like getting on her nerves or something. Like, man, I already know this crap. Why are you even asking? It was just like, anyway. But anyway, I'm sure, like I said, at the very least, you probably heard of her. If you watched TikTok recently, you probably seen a lot of people making fun of her as well for the same reason. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that segment. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and don't forget to stay
Stay disturbed.
disturbed.